Welcome to Mantsha Pheeha's YouTube channel, and thank you for watching this Money 101 webinar. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn a lot. I hope it helps you in some way financially so that you can go to a better place. And if it has blessed you, please share it with others around you and subscribe to our channel. In order to buy the book, you are welcome to follow on social media platforms, Mantsha Pheeha, to also email on mantsha@mantsha.com or to visit our website, mantsha.com. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this and subscribe so that when we have more videos, you may be the first to hear about it. Enjoy it. Thank you. Let's get started. I hope that you guys came with something to write so that if ever there is something that is an aha moment for you, it's something that you want to remember later on, you can write it down. So I will share a little bit later some of the things that we are going to do. But there are two things that I want us to do today. Maybe not today per se, but over the next two weeks. Let me know if you can see this now. So one is I want us to do an audit. And then two, I want us to design a money system. So remember, there's two webinars. There's part one and there's part two. So today, I want us to just do an audit of where you are in terms of your money. And obviously, it's something that you have to do for yourself. I can only ask the questions, I can only direct, but you are the one that has to say, this is where I am in terms of my finances. So today in part one, we are going to do this audit. And then next week, same time, we are going to then start to get to designing a system for your personal finance. And remember, yeah, that's better. Remember, you don't have to agree with the system that I'm showing you. I'll show you two systems and you get to choose the one that you want to use. But you don't have to choose any of the two systems. Now that we would have gone through what a financial system looks like, you can decide what yours should look like. Let me give you an example. So let's say I say a money system should have 10% savings, should have 10% given to charity. But you actually decide, no, I can live on much less. I want to save 20% or I want to save 30%. You are free to do that. The only thing is I will introduce some basics, the things, the fundamentals, things that your system should have, but you'll decide on the percentages. You know your living conditions, you know how much you make, you know how much debt you have, etc. So you'll decide on that. But today, as I said, we're going to be mostly doing an audit. So what I'm teaching is based on my book, Money 101. And it talks about three things. One, you have to make money. So a lot of times when we talk about money, we assume that people are making money, but not everyone is making money. So it's very important then that whatever a finance system we come up with, we are able to say to each other, you need to make money. You can't just assume that everyone makes money. So people are at different places. I can see most people who are here, you have jobs already. Chances are you earn enough money, so your salary is your income. But for other people, maybe they have businesses, whatever it is that they have. But you cannot talk about a money system when there is no income, because you can't manage zero. So the first step is you need to make money. Then the second step is out of the money that you make, you have to keep some of it. And if you have ever read The Richest Man in Babylon, you know that as soon as that guy wanted to know about finance, the first thing that they told him is, some of the money that you earn is yours to keep. And he said, what do you mean some of the money that I earn is mine to keep? Because all the money that I earn is mine to keep. And Akkad showed him and said, no, actually, you are paying the landlord, you are paying for food, you're paying for clothes, you are paying for all these things, and you're not keeping any money for yourself. So it's very important that some of the money that you make, you actually keep it. And keeping that money means it's money that you are not spending. It's money that tomorrow you can look at and say, okay, I earned 100 Rand yesterday, I kept 2 Rand, and the following month you keep 2 Rand or 20 Rand or 200 Rand, whatever the case is. But you are keeping some of the money that you make. Then the third thing is you grow your money. And the way that you grow your money, you either grow your money by keeping more of your money or by making more money. So this can either grow, because if you make more money, this will grow. Or even if you make the same amount of money, out of the money that you have kept, you increase and you keep more. So this can, number 3, can grow in both ways. Either you make more money or you keep more of the money that you've made. So in a nutshell, that is our money system. But today we're doing an audit. You are looking at how you spend your money, and you are looking at how much you have kept. So I'm going to ask some questions. Let me share the screen here. Why do you, so for those of us who are saying, I want more money, or I want to keep more money, or I want to be better with money, what is your purpose for money? So, and here I quote Miles Monroe, who says, where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. And Proverbs, which says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Then I also quote Simon Sinek, who says, you need to know your why. So what is your why for your finances? So that's the first thing that I want us to think about. What is your why? If the idea that you have is you want to make more money, or you want to be able to give more, you want to do certain things for people that you love, people that are in your life, I want you to be able to say, what is my why? What is my purpose? Ne? Then, this is where it gets exciting. How much money have you received in your life? Salary, profits, from business, bonuses, maybe you sold things, you once had a house, you sold it. I want to, and don't worry about accuracy, I just want us to have an idea of how much money have you received. So I'll give you an example. Ne? So let's say you started working in the year, how old are people here? Let me check. Yeah, okay. I'll say you started working in 2010. Ne? So let's assume you've been working for 10 years. Ne? And don't worry, these are just arbitrary numbers. Ne? When you started working in 2010, your salary was, how much were salaries in 2010? Let's be generous, or let's say you were earning, let's make it easy. You were earning 100,000 per annum. Ne? Now where you are, let's say you are earning 1 million per annum. So over the past 10 years, we're just going to say you were earning an average of 500K per annum over 10 years, which means you have earned a total of 5 million. Ne? So it's easy. So I don't want you to worry too much about accuracy and say, no, the thing is I earned more, whatever the case is. I don't want to worry about that. I want you to just do a quick calculation where you are determining how much roughly do you think you earned since you started working. If you just make an assumption that, okay, over the past 10 years, you've made 500,000 per annum, and which means you've earned a total of 5 million. And I don't want you to worry about tax, etc., etc. We are just going to take 40% of that. Okay, let's take 50% of that and say this is the money that you have earned over the time that you've been working. So some of us, we've made profits from houses that we sold. You used to sell something. Maybe you were in network marketing. Maybe you were in a business. You got some SARS refunds. You know, whatever it is that brought money into your life, I want you to be able to account for it. Because most of us, we actually don't realize that we've had a lot of money passing through our hands. But when we look at what we have done with that money, we can't see what we have done with that money. So it's very important for you then as a person to be able to say, this is the amount of money that I've received, and this is what I did with it. Ne? So let's go back to that Word document so that we can see what the next question is. So now, the first thing that you did is you have said, this is the amount of money that I've received. So the second step then, out of the money that you have received, how much have you kept? So a sum total of your savings and investments. And with this, you don't really have to think hard, because for most of us, you have all your accounts available in a, I mean, for many of us, maybe you have something like 22/7 or something like that, where you can have a view of all your bank accounts, your investments, you are able to put the equity in your house, all that stuff. So for me and other people, you don't have to be that sophisticated to get an app. Maybe what you actually have is you just have a spreadsheet where you are able to say, my savings in cash is this much, the equity in my house is this much, the amount of money that is in my car. And remember, when you're thinking about things like a car, don't think about the market value of your car. Think, if I were to trade this car in, how much am I going to get? And some of the things that we record as assets, to be honest, no one is going to buy them. You may have a great collection of shoes, but chances are no one is going to buy them. So it's very important then that you make sure that whatever it is that you put as assets, your savings, your investments, it doesn't matter how well or how not well they are doing, but you record it all down. So if, let's say, you have made 2.5 million in the past 10 years, as we did in the last example, and you now find that you actually have 100,000 in, you have 100,000 in savings, in investments, etc., etc., then you are able to see that, hey, your savings and investing rate is very low. So this is not necessarily to judge you, to say you are doing well or you are not doing well, but this is so that you can be able to measure where you are, and so that you can ask yourself the question, do I want to continue doing life? Do I want to continue with my finances the way that I've been continuing? Or are you saying that I want things to change, I want to do things differently? So it's up to you, really. You are the one that decides whether you want your money situation to continue like this, or you want to see a different situation with your money. So let's go again to question number 4. And remember, we are just going to continue with these questions, whether we finish them today or we don't. It's really not an issue, but the idea is you need to start to think about what you are going to do with your finances. Okay, let's find that there it is. Let's close this and share it again. So the next question then is, we've already talked about it. So you take your savings, you divide it by the amount of money that you've made, and that is your savings rate. And it could be anything, 1%, 10%, or 0.000001%, it doesn't matter. It's your number. It also doesn't have to be accurate. Don't worry. I mean, some of us, we keep very good financial records. But for those of us who don't keep good financial records, the idea is now you need to start to keep good financial records. Then, number 5, how wealthy are you? And I want us to spend a bit of time thinking about this. So to calculate this, you take your savings, you divide them by your expenses. This will show you the amount of time you have to live on the money you have based on your expenses before your money runs out. If you have passive income, rental, royalties, dividends, interest payments, etc., your expenses will show you how much you need to be financially free. Okay, and we'll talk to this. And let's do that. Let's talk to this point. Okay, so let's continue with our example of 10,000. Don't worry that it's correct or incorrect. So let's say your monthly expenses are 10,000 rands. Do you see it? So these are your monthly expenses. You're paying rent, you have a car maybe, or you're taking taxes, you're buying clothes. I don't think you're buying them every month. Maybe you're buying them every 6 months, every 3 months, whatever the case is. But everything that you need to do You are giving, if you're supporting somebody at home, you're supporting them at home, whatever it is that you are doing on a monthly basis, you put all of it here. So in the case of this person, if your savings are 100,000 and your monthly expenses are 10,000, it means that if you divide this 100K by 10, you can live off of your savings for 10 months. So should it happen that you lose your job or whatever, or you don't have an income anymore, you know that if your expenses don't change, you have enough money based on your savings to live on for 10 months. By month 11, you won't have any money to live on anymore. So this is where it becomes interesting. If you have rental income, or you are earning dividends, or you are getting interest from a bond, or you are getting some kind of money that you don't have to work to get, but it's like, I call it a toll gate type of business. Whether you are sleeping or you are awake, the toll gate is always working. So if you have passive income, let's say your rental income is 5,000, and let's say your dividends and your dividends and your interest payments from your bonds, from your accounts at the bank, whatever the situation is, wherever it is that you're saving money. Let's say your dividends is 2.5 per month, and then clearly you have a lot of money. And your interest payments is also 2.5, which means from your investments every month without doing anything, you're getting 10,000. Now, what does this mean? It means your passive income is 10,000. Your monthly expenses are 10,000. So here you can see that you don't have to work another day. You have enough money to pay for your monthly expenses. So a lot of people that talk about financial freedom, this is what they are trying to pursue. You are not necessarily trying to save so much money that you're not trying to save so much money that you don't have, that you have millions and you can just keep on paying without the money running out. But rather, you are trying to set up your finances in such a way that your passive income is equal or more than your expenses. Because if you have rental income, it's possible that you may lose your tenants. And if you lose your tenants, this will become zero. Interest rates may drop and this can reduce. Dividends, for some reason your companies are not doing well, or your unit trust or whatever, however it is that you're saving is not doing well. So the idea is to have this increasing. So the more you work, year 11, year 12, year 13, the more you work, you want your end income to be turned into passive income until you get to a point where your end income is less than your passive income. The idea is not to earn less. The idea is to increase your passive income. Do you hear it, guys? So I don't want a person to say, no, but this is easy. For my end income to be less than my passive income, I can just get a salary cut and then my end income is going to be less than my passive. No, the idea is with the promotions, with salary increases, with your salary, with your end income growing, you are making sure that you take a substantial amount of that end income and you buy the type of assets that will give you passive income. Ne? So, I mean, I know I see some of the people that are here are very serious people who understand finance much better than me, and you're probably more sophisticated than this. But the idea here is, let us remind ourselves of the fundamentals, because if you do the basics right, the rest becomes easy. Ne? So now you get it, you know how wealthy you are, you see where the gaps are. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you are over-reliant on earning income, you are in some kind of trouble, because end income is not always guaranteed. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that passive income does not have risks. So you have calculated how much time you can take without working. You may decide that you want to travel and go overseas for the next 5 years and live on the money that you have. If you have passive income, you don't have to worry about working. So now, let's come to number 6. Ne? How wealthy must you be? Hey, yeah. So how wealthy must you be? You multiply your age by your pre-tax annual income from all sources except inheritance. So if you are me, and for today, can I be 40? Because I don't want complicated numbers. So if you are me and you are 40, this is my age, I'm 40, and I multiply it by my realized pre-tax income. Again, we are going to use the easy amount of money, which is 100,000. So if I'm 40, I multiply this by 100,000, it means that I should be having 4 million in savings. Do you see it? So, I mean, I've always found this to be very fascinating to say how. But why is it that we always look at your current income to determine how wealthy you must be? It's because at whatever level of income that you are, chances are this is where your quality of life is. So if somebody else is earning less, chances are they are able to get by with much less than you get by on. So it's very important then for you to understand that if you were to lower this too much, you'll actually end up at a place where you are not able to afford your life when you need the money most. I'll give you a few examples. The older you get, you are not active anymore. For me, as an example, the type of work that I do, I'm a speaker. I travel a lot. There are, especially in August, I can do 5 events in one day. And I mean, I remember last year, especially that week of the 17th of August last year, I probably preached 10 times in one weekend. But I was aware of something very important. At that time, as a 41-year-old who's fairly active and fairly healthy, I can go to 10 different places throughout the province or throughout the country without much worry. But when I'm 70, chances are I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to take that many invitations. So when you're thinking about saving, don't just think, no, I'll always work, I don't want to retire. Remember that the older that we become, we will have less energy. There are certain things that we want to do. When you are old, maybe your choice will just be to sit at home and to have somebody rubbing your feet. So it's very important then, especially for those who are in the audience who are much younger, you are lucky. Because for you, you are getting this information early in life. You don't have to get it late when you are 40. I mean, now I'm 42, I'm 13 years away from retirement. You're trying to chase retirement, making sure that you have enough money in savings. If you are in your 20s, you are in your 30s, it's still early. And if you've just started working, kudos to you for being here. So now you have an idea of how wealthy you must be. Oh, no, I forgot to divide by 10. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So what is your current annual? So this is 400K. Oh, it's even lower than I thought. Oh, but it's because it's based on 100K, yeah? So I think in my mind, I was thinking 1 million, but this is actually 100K. So it's 400K because we divide by 10. And you know what? There are some people who are here on this webinar who already have more than this. Kudos to you. Well done to you. Next time, actually, you are the one that should be running this. So what is your current annual gross income? Do you think it is less than, equal to, or greater than your abilities and gifts? You know, for me personally, guys, when I had to come face to face with this question, it was not nice. It was not nice. So this is what I'm asking you. What is your gross income? Ne? What's your gross? Ne? What's your gross? I think this one, it needs a red pen, guys. What is your gross income? Whether you have a business, you are getting an end income, it doesn't matter how you are getting paid. What is your gross, which means before tax, how much are you making? The question that I'm asking here, this gross, is it greater than, is it less than, or is it equal to your abilities, your strengths, your skills, or your experience? This is a very painful question to ask people who feel that they are underpaid. And it is a very nice question to ask people who feel that they are paid what they are worth, or they are paid more than what they are worth. So if you think that you are paid what you are worth, your gross income is equal to your abilities, well done, well done. But if you think you are earning less, you are earning less than your abilities, the question that I want to ask you, so what are you going to do about it? Remember, we are auditing here. So you can't keep saying, hey, I'm underpaid, I don't earn enough, hey, at my work they don't appreciate me, my business is not doing well, but you are not doing anything to make sure that the income that you are getting is equal to where you measure yourself. So if you are making 1 million, do you think your abilities, your skills, your expertise, your experience, your education is equal to 1 million? If you think all those things are greater than 1 million, what are you going to do to ensure that the gross income comes to the level of your true value? Because sometimes what we do as human beings is we stay at a certain level because even though we know that the level where we are operating is less than what we are worth, we just sit as if there's nothing that we can do about it. But today I want to tell you there's something you can do about it, and you should do something about it if you think what you are earning is not enough. One, either you're going to look for a better job, you are going to add something on the side, you are going to just do something about your abilities and make sure that you are doing more. Okay? So lastly, is this the last thing? Yes, this is the last thing that we are going to do today. Okay, guys, at some point, you know that our Q&A was hacked by a person who started writing nonsense there. Forgive me. But for the next time, we are going to make sure that people are admitted into the webinar so that we don't have, you know, horrible people coming to write horrible things. So what is your retirement plan looking like? This is the last thing that we're going to do for the day. If there are any questions, I'll take the questions. Next week, as I said, we're going to be looking at 2 money systems that you can apply in your life. And I'm hoping that we'll have a more interactive session. And maybe what you can do is send me your questions based on today's session. And when it comes to designing your money system, also send me your questions. Let me know what you would like us to cover, because anyway, next week is going to be the last one. We're just doing two webinars. So now let's look at your retirement plan. For those who are employed or you run successful businesses, you have been saving for some time, you may have gone through this exercise with your financial planner. So what is your retirement age? How long until you retire? How much have you saved? How much do you need to live on at retirement? So you need to ask yourself the questions: would you have paid off all your debt, your cars, your house? Will your medical expenses increase? Will you still be taking care of your children? How much do you still need to save? Okay, we don't have to go through the questions in order, but let's try and talk to some of the questions. Again, we'll use the 40-year-old me. Ne? So I'm 40 and I want to retire at 60. It's easier than retiring at 55 because that will give me 15 years and I'd rather have 10 years times 2. So I'm 40, I'm going to retire at 60. Ne? So if I'm going to retire at 60, I need to ask myself some questions. So the house that I'm staying in now, let's say it's not paid, let's say it's left with 10 years to be paid, which means this house will be paid off by the age of 50. So the question that I need to ask myself is, am I going to pay off this house and live in this house forever? Or am I going to start another loan that is going to take me 10 years to pay off? Do I want to start it now so that by the time I reach 60, I've paid it off? Or am I content staying in this house? I make sure that I pay it by the time I'm 50, and all the money that has been going into this installment between 50 and 60, I'm going to save it. So do you see that when you think about your retirement, you are not just thinking about, you're not just thinking about how much money do I need, how much should I have in policies, how much should I have in investments. You are thinking about the actions that you are taking today that will answer the question of when you are older and you can't do most of the things that you are able to do now, how are you going to live? So I'm not even talking about this is how much you must put in a retirement annuity or in a pension fund or in a provident fund. I'm asking you issues around lifestyle. So here we talked about a house. So remember, for most people, 30% of their income goes towards housing. So here we're talking about the repayment for your bond, if you have a repayment for a bond. So now that you've thought about your bond repayments, you need to think around other costs for the house. For most people, there's levies, there's rates, there's electricity, there's things like the helper. There's a whole lot of things that goes towards the upkeep of your house. So you need to ask yourself, between 40 and 60, maybe because you are earning, you can pay for these things. But if you keep this house and it has a certain amount related to these things, are you going to afford them after 60? So do you see how you are thinking about this? Then you do the same for everything else. If you have a car now and you want to drive it for the rest of your life and you think that can happen, that's fine. If you realize that the car that you have is old and you need to buy a car, you need to start to ask yourself, okay, if I have 20 years and I'm buying a car every 5 years, which means I still have to buy 4 cars before I retire. If you are buying a car every 10 years, it means I have to buy 2 cars before I retire. So you have to think differently about funding these assets, because you are not just thinking about the time when you are working. You are thinking beyond that time. You are thinking about the time when you are no longer making income. So by the time you hit 60, I don't know if you want to hit 60 with a car that is 10-year-old, or you want to hit 60 and downgrade to a much cheaper car because when you are older, you won't be traveling as much. So the decision is yours. So these are some of the things that you need to think about as you are thinking about retirement. The other thing that I want you to think about is, will you be able to work during retirement? Will you be able to work during retirement? This is a very important question. And for me personally, since I'm giving examples with myself, I actually realized that if I base all my work on traveling and speaking at events and being physically there, I will reach a point in my life where I don't have the energy to do it. That's one of the reasons why I started writing books. Because I said, even when I'm old, I'll still be able to write. Even when I'm old, I'll still be able to post the books if somebody wants to order them. And probably by that time, the books will be bestsellers. Everybody will be reading them on Amazon, and I won't have to worry about how the books get to the person that has bought them. So if you will be working, think about an older version of yourself and ask yourself, if I'm assuming that I'll still be working, what type of work will be suitable for someone at my age? Do you see it? Because we assume that we'll always have these energy levels. Being able to speak to a computer for 1 hour when you are 75 may not necessarily be possible, and you need to think about doing something else. So, and you will do this with your medical needs. If you have children, it's very easy. You know that you are 40 and your child is 2 years old. So by the time you are 60, your child will be 22. And you need to ask yourself, if my child is still at university, or if my child is still staying with me at home and I'm a pensioner, how am I going to fund my child's lifestyle? So so when you think about retirement, don't just think about how much do I have in savings. Think about your lifestyle. Think about more than just how much money do I need to have in my policy, in my retirement policy. And here I think it's speaking mostly to the point that I raised earlier, but let me read it with you. Let's try and make this bigger. For those who are employed or who run businesses and have not been saving for retirement for one reason or another, then you need to take a different approach. Because I have on my Discovery banking app, there's something where you calculate your retirement age. Ne? So I calculate my retirement age. It calculates my retirement savings, and it comes up with some crazy number. It says I must retire by the age of 85. Ne? So I must keep working until I'm 85. It says I must retire by the age of 85. Then it also tells me that I must contribute 23,000 per month towards a retirement annuity. I mean, I want to listen to my Discovery app when it says I must do these things. But the truth of the matter is I don't have 23,000 right now to contribute towards a retirement annuity. So if that's you, and because you are self-employed or because of the nature of your income, you haven't saved enough money, you need to think differently about retirement. I know that some of you have already read this thing and finished it. So whether or not you have a valid reason for not saving for retirement, that won't change the fact that you need to either catch up or start where you are. So either you are catching up or you just like, you know what, actually, I'm not going to try and catch up with this. I'm going to come up with a different strategy or a different plan for my. Remember, I'm not selling policies, and I don't have, after my conversation with you, you don't have to buy a policy from me. After my conversation with you, I want you to be able to think differently about your money. But not just that. For those of us whose parents are still alive, I want us to be able to advise our parents differently about money, our aunts, our cousins, our brothers, because you may be savvy financially, but that does not mean the people in your life have this same savviness that you have. Ne? So how much retirement savings do you have? 0 is also a number, guys. So if you have no retirement savings, don't start to make up something. 0 is also a number. Can you afford to retire? So again, you'll do the maths. You'll say, I'm going to retire in so long, and then you will realize I can or I cannot afford to retire. So if you can't afford to retire, what type of work will you do when you are older? When you have less energy? When the market is reserving certain jobs for younger people? When because of sickness, even if you are ready to work, you can't. You have to stay at home and take care of yourself. Maybe during winter, when it's cold, you actually have to stay in bed the entire time because you are old, and there's nothing wrong with that. Old people chill in the bed. There's nothing wrong with that. How do you start to plan for the work you will do in retirement? And I gave this example earlier. I said a speaker who travels a lot may need to start writing books, developing an online coaching program to make up for a time when that same person will not be able to travel. A well sought after doctor may consider teaching as part of your retirement plan. A performing artist may focus more on royalty income and writing or composing music for younger artists. A real estate developer may keep some units for rental to provide passive income during retirement, etc. That's where we ended, guys. So when you are thinking about your retirement plan, don't allow yourself to be frustrated by, no, I wish I had saved enough when I was younger. I remember when I started learning about finances, I always felt like I wish I had known this sooner. I wish I had known this sooner. And that thought of I wish I had known this sooner just leaves you feeling bitter and feeling stuck, feeling like there's nothing that you can do. So I don't want you to say, I wish I had started saving when I was 25. For many of us, when we started working, what did we do? When you left a job to go to another job, we actually chowed the retirement, the pension fund and the provident fund. And now you don't know what you did with it. You bought a brand new car, you bought shoes, you bought clothes. Now you are older, you wish you had preserved that money. So, but you didn't. And that's your reality. And if that is your reality, then you need a different kind of retirement plan. Ne? So next week, if there are no questions, if you have questions, write them in the chat. Ne? Please don't go to that Q&A section. Next week, then, we are going to be talking about designing a personal money system. A personal money system. Guys, my handwriting, ne? So remember, you make money, and there should be activities in your life that are related to making money, job, all that passive income that we talked about, selling, buy and sell, whatever it is that makes money for you. Then the second leg, you need to keep some of the money that you make. And the one thing that is going to help you keep money is a budget. So your budget will tell you how much of your money you can spend, how much of your money you can't spend. Then 3, you grow your money. So this is the basic system. Then what you are going to do is you are going to come up with a way to automate it. And automating a system doesn't just mean having a debit order. It's more than that. Understanding how every time when money comes into your life, you spend it. And that's what we are going to cover next week. Is Money 101 workbook part of the, okay, let me answer the questions. One, from Bongeni, is Money 101 workbook part of the Money 101 book? No, it's not part of the book. Well, it is part of the book. So the workbook, the information in the workbook comes from the book. So it's the same thing. So it's just that in the book, it's written as a book, whereas the workbook is asking you the questions. But even in the book, there's quite a lot of places where it's asking you the questions. So technically, it's the same thing. Ne? Will you be sharing the recording? Yes, Didintle. I'll be sharing the recording. So if you need it, just let me know. Send me an email. I think all of you have the email. Alina, Ari, thank you. Great class. Madoda Machikiza, please just write your question in the chat for me. Are we going to pay for the classes at some point? Yes, Alina, you guys, since you are helping me. This is my beta testing. This is me checking what works with the webinars. So in the first two classes, I'm hoping that when I ask you, I will send you a form, just a survey to ask you how I can improve, what I can do better, if you're learning anything, if this is helpful. And then when we have the real thing, it will be because of your contribution. Thank you for that question, Alina. So the idea is, this is my first ever webinar in my life. I hope it went well. And the idea is you guys will help me to make it better, and then we can package it nicely, and then we'll be paying for the webinars. So Hodi, thank you for this. I want the book as in yesterday. So guys, please, to order the book, I will send you the information. It's 200. If you want it couriered, it's 250 or 300, depending on whether you'll pick it up at PEP or you want it to come to your house. And the books are available. The books are also available on Amazon. So please feel free to inbox, to text. Let's see the other questions. Madoda says, hi, can you please help me with my budget? Okay, so next week when we are doing the system, we'll also spend some time talking about the budget. But also the other thing, Madoda, if you can send me an email, and maybe I can also see how to help you one-on-one. There's also financial coaching available where I'm able to go through your finances with you, and then I'm able to advise looking at what you have. I also want to order the book. Please hit me up, inbox, email. Paul, thank you for such a great, oh guys, thank you so much. You are my first ever audience. Thank you so much for coming. Great webinar. Well done. I bought the book. Oh, thank you, Lady Poppy. I hope you enjoyed the book. Let's see if there are some questions on Facebook. Ooh, the comments on Facebook. Guys, I agree, you know now there's a problem. Cancel. Guys, I agree, I'm trying to figure this out. I was trying to answer the questions on Facebook, but as soon as I go to Facebook, the sound is also on. So Mtobisi, thank you very much. Great webinar. Thank you, Mtobisi. Charlotte, thank you. We all deserve to be fine. Charlotte, thank you. Hey, Charlotte used to be my financial advisor. So hey, when your financial advisor says it went well, thank you. Monde, great webinar. Thank you, Monde, with every dollar. Oh, the $0 that you paid when I'm Monde. Monde is the one who designed the cover of my book. Okay, my daughter, I'll send you an email. I got your email address. To the guys that are on Facebook, test drive. So what I'm going to do after this is I will go onto Facebook and I will respond to every single one of your comments. But next week is going to run better. I think I already know how I need to navigate it better. But thank you for coming to this first one. Ellen, thank you very much. So this is it, guys. We don't have to take it to 7. We are done. I hope you learned something. Thank you for joining me. Please inbox, WhatsApp, call, and let me know what we can do better for next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Didintle, thank you for coming. Bye-bye, guys.